Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another one of your A to B podcast episodes. I am Albert Ramos. I am your host, and I'm always joined by my co-host, Barry Bull. What's up, Barry? How you doing?
I feel like $1 million.
If you see my introduction was different. You know why?
Why?
Because people already know that we are your number one source for military entrepreneurship and entertainment, and we don't have to keep reminding them that.
Dang it, he is so good.
Every single time.
He is handsome. He's hot. He's caliente.
Hey, I'm trying. I'm trying. I told you we got to speak offline about that that TRT stuff.
Yes.
I think I'm about to get ready to jump on that wagon.
If you're a man and you're having the symptoms and you don't feel right, it's your job to take action. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna be talking more about that. I highly suggest that you guys reach out to Barry about that. But today, guys, like always, like all of our episodes, we have a very intriguing podcast because we're bringing today a representative from the VFW, which stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars, and we're here with Joy Joy MaCavoy.
You got it.
See, it's the Hispanic in me, okay,
I
Joey?
gave him a hard time because I said if it was a Spanish name, you're good, but if it was Irish,
Right.
Yeah. So is that Irish?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Technically, yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Joey,
it is.
welcome to the podcast,
Thank
brother.
you,
How you
man.
doing?
Thank you so much. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Yeah, of course.
First off, I just want to say you guys are like celebrities to me, man.
get out of here.
I feel like just me sitting here, I feel like I made it. Okay. I feel like I'm finally famous. Okay. I'm happy to be here, man. This is freaking awesome. I love this podcast, man.
Thank
I really,
you.
really do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
I love
that.
you guys got it, man. You guys got like that X factor. You know?
It was Albert invited me on one time a few years back, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. We just keep coming. We just keep coming.
We just keep showing up on Tuesdays.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's like that, man. I definitely appreciate it. I do want to ask you because obviously you've been a fan of the podcast, and then now you're here.
For sure.
What drove you to come on the podcast? But what was really, to everyone that's actually looking out there, like, do we have we known each other? Because a lot of people is like, well, he just brings his friends or he brings people.
Yeah.
It's like,
We've never met in person until a couple hours ago in the parking lot. Either you guys, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Why
That's
this
it.
podcast over other? You could throw a rock and hit 50 podcasts.
Yeah,
What do you like about this
exactly.
one?
You guys, to me, represent like the epitome of veteran success. You know, you guys did your thing in the military. You went all the way with it. You know, and it's almost like two ends of the spectrum. You know, the drill field, the recruiting duty. You know, and then you guys got the dynamic sitting down with guests. I just think it's something to see, man. It's something to listen to.
That makes me feel
Yeah.
good, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
that
really
makes
serious.
me feel good, too.
bro.
No, I'm
Makes me
serious.
feel real
That
good.
was like, did you feel that?
Yeah,
Fuck
I
that.
did.
Makes
I
me
did.
feel-
I
Seriously.
They had a bromance.
We had a
connection?
thing right there. We had a thing right there.
Yeah,
There
no,
was a
man.
thing. There was
I
something there.
appreciate.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
that a
that.
lot.
There was
I
something
appreciate
there.
that.
Because there
And
was something there.
We don't get that feedback all
Yeah,
the
we
time.
don't. We don't.
Now you guys really put yourself out there, you know, and it takes something to do that.
Yeah, usually
really
the
takes
feedback that
something
we
to do that.
receive is like negative feedback of people assuming what we're trying to do instead of really looking into what we're really trying to do, man. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate connecting with you, man. Barry, it was a great idea to do the link, the Calendly link, because that's literally how he did. He went to the
Exactly.
link, and then here he is.
Yeah.
So if
here
you
we
guys
are.
are looking, go to the link in my bio, click on that link. Don't think that just because you go on that link though, you're automatically gonna come onto the podcast. Okay, there are conversations that happen prior to ensure that you are the right guest for the podcast. Okay, so ensure that you guys understand that. But Joey, let's get back to you, right?
Sure,
Obviously,
yeah.
you are a Marine Corps veteran. You
That's
did
right.
4 years in
5 years total.
5 years total in the
yeah.
United States Marine
Yes,
Corps.
I did.
From what
Yes, I
year
did.
to what year?
January 05 to January 09, and then 2013 to 2014, I did 1 year. So then that was active reserve.
Active
Yeah.
reserve.
So
okay.
So I discharged twice.
Got it.
So I had what they call it broken time.
Yeah.
Broken time. Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
so how old were you when you joined initially?
I was 18.
Okay, so you just
As Barry would say, I was born in the year 1986.
okay.
So, yeah.
That's a
Okay.
bad year because the Redskins were Super Bowl champs.
Oh my God! Here he go with his random ass fact.
Right.
That's a bad. Well, I'm just saying. And then look at Doug Williams.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's one way to look at it.
I'm sorry.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Okay,
That's one way to look at it.
so you joined in 2005 as soon as you were 18.
Yes, I did.
How was that experience back then? Because shit was really popping off in 05.
It's a different time. It's a different era. It was January 05. So I had a semester at community college, and so I was contract PFC. I was Paris Island. I know you're gonna talk
Let's
crap
go.
about that. So.
Let's go. No. Don't worry about him.
But he could do that because he's if you're the drill master in San Diego, you can,
Hey,
I think you rate to talk. Crap
No,
about
there
the
is
guy,
absolutely no reason why people should shame other people.
Yeah,
And that's what Barry likes to do.
Right,
And
right.
we're not going to do that in this podcast. I will not allow it. I will not allow it.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Perry Sider, my brother right there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, you know it. First Battalion Bravo Company, Platoon 1029. 8 April 2005 was the graduation date. Can't forget it. Just can't forget it. I mean, how could you forget it? Yeah.
Why'd you join?
That's the $1 million question. I saw this really cool TV commercial. This dude was slaying a dragon. I was like, that's pretty cool.
That goddamn commercial got everybody.
Yeah.
You're like the fourth guest that we bring in. It's like the dragon commercial. We need to bring that.
Am I really? I thought it'd be the first.
Comstrat, instead
it
of
would be
watching
the
our
first, that's why I said
podcast,
that.
and instead of watching our podcast, Comstrat, what y'all really need to do, y'all really need to get your ass back to the drawing board and get some dragons on TV. Nobody cares about the lame ass commercials that you guys are bringing out. Bring back the dragons. Listen, do a Game of Thrones type of deal. I don't really care how you do it. Bring back the commercials with the dragons. It got an entire generation to join the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So you saw the commercial with the dragon, and then what?
I was like, man, I wonder what that's like.
Slaying dragons?
What is that all about?
Slaying dragons?
What is that all about? Yeah, slaying dragons.
Okay.
Now, my father is a 20-year Marine Corps vet. He served from 1980 to 2000. He retired as a lieutenant colonel.
Wow.
I come from actually a generation, like 4 generations of military service.
Wow.
Father, grandfather, great grandfather. So there's an impact there. So that had a lot of influence on my decision. And yeah.
Are you originally from Cali?
I was born in Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital, and I spent my whole life on the East Coast.
Oh.
So yeah, mostly Virginia Beach.
Okay,
to be exact. Yeah.
That's cool. Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital. They don't even. It's still there, but they don't even use it for that anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh.
Now you got the hospital up by the front gate. But okay, so you see the commercial. You've got a lot of generational military influence in your family.
I was kind of BSing about the commercial. I thought it'd be funny, but evidently I'm not the first person that did that. So not original.
Okay, so did your recruiter find you, or did he?
I walked in. I was recruiter's dream. I just walked in because I made up my mind. I had my mind made up.
And that's why
I had my mind made up.
So you made the recruiter's job
easy.
Thank you.
Easy
for saying that word, because it's
but
exactly what it is,
right? But I'm not your everyday guy. You don't get that every
so
day
did
guy
your
that
dad
just walks
walk in there?
No, they do.
With you to the recruiting office?
No, he had no idea at all.
Hello.
Yeah, at all.
And he's a lieutenant colonel.
What
was he at the time?
Yeah, he was retired. He retired in 2000. I walked into the recruiter's office 2004.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was living at home. I graduated high school. I was living at home with my parents. I was working a job washing dishes at a local restaurant and going to community college. And after that first semester, I just decided that I wanted to do something different. Do something different. And I never really considered military service at all until one night after washing dishes. I just so happened, it was a small kitchen, it's an Italian restaurant. It's in Virginia Beach. One of the guys that was washing dishes too, like he was the cook, and then there was his helper. He was a vet. He was a Marine vet from Desert Storm. So, we'd be working. He'd be telling the story, war story and all. So I'm like, and I got to say this, my father's brother, my uncle Joe, he served during the Desert Storm era as well as a Marine. So, and he enlisted when he was 17. And to me, growing up, this guy was one of the coolest guys. just in my imagination, like this guy was a really cool guy. You know,
Well, he's a Marine.
He's a Marine. You know?
So you never really thought about any other branch of service?
No, I really didn't. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Yeah. Just being. Yeah. No, never.
Okay. So
never.
what did your drill instructors? Because obviously this is the height of the Iraq War.
Yeah. It is.
How was the interactions with the drill instructors?
That's a fucking awesome question. Intense, to say the least.
Because it's Parris Island.
Intense, to say the least. Because it's Parris Island. Because it's what it's designed to be. It's designed to be maximum intensity, right? Volume and intensity. Speed, volume, intensity.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely. Speed, volume, intensity. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you what sticks out to you the most? Like when I went to boot camp, for some reason, I remember that late night misty bus ride.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting screamed at on the bus, you know. Yeah. What are some things that stick out to you, like right up front?
It's an awesome question because there's so many things that stick out. If we're talking about the bus ride, it was a very long bus ride. It was from Virginia all the way down to South Carolina.
Damn.
Yeah. If we're talking about the bus ride, it was kind of like you kind of knew something. You know the guy's gonna come on. You know there's gonna be yelling and stuff, and you know that that's part of the deal.
Well, you knew because of your family, probably your family.
Not
probably,
really. I mean, like there was no YouTube, but there was like, recruiting video, like the videotape that they have in the recruiter's office. There's documentaries here and there and stuff. So, you know that in it, there's a Full Metal Jacket. So it's gonna be part of the game. There's gonna it's gonna be what it's gonna be to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of had it. So the things that stick out to me the most, like if we're taking a step, I said would be like receiving is the first step. Like when you get there, you get your issued gear and all that stuff, and they're kind of moving you through a quick process, and you're awake for like a couple days. Like I think it's like 36 hours. You're just awake and you're getting shots and you're putting your contraband in the thing. And the first face-to-face interaction with a DI was during the contraband. When when you sit in a classroom and then there's boxes up front, there's a list of stuff. He's like, any of these things you put in the box. So I go up, empty my pockets, and I go back to I realize I still got a lighter in my pocket. So I walk back up on my own accord and I put the lighter back in, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, sorry, I just forgot this." And he's like, and he just got all up in my shit. He's like, "You might want to open up your goddamn." I was like, "I sir." I was like, that's when I realized, I was like, okay, these guys are on another level.
Real. Yeah, that's real.
And that's when I learned right then and there, man, if you return that intensity, there's a good chance they're gonna leave you alone. I mean, maybe not, but there's a good chance if you return that intensity back to them, they might just leave you alone. So that's I kind of learned that right then and there. Yeah.
What have you ever heard the term Black Friday?
I have.
What does that mean? Do you know?
That's the day. It's the day that you get picked up by your drill instructors that are going to train you, that are going to be responsible for you for the next 3 months.
That's right.
Training, yeah.
And everybody knows Black Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember yours?
I've heard you ask that on other podcasts, and I don't really remember it specifically. There was receiving, and then once you get all your gear, you got your sea bag. You take a very long march, like a run to your barracks, which was right on in Parris Island, 1st Battalion.
Right across the parade deck.
Right on across the parade deck, and then ours was facing the swamp.
Yeah,
and you could see the bridge coming into the island. You can see the lights of Beaufort, South Carolina. Black Friday specifically, I wish I could. I wish I could tell you exactly those moments, but I could tell you everything. I could tell you everything else. I can tell you everything else. Whatever you want to know, I can tell you.
What's a boot camp story? Do you got a crazy boot camp story that sticks out to you that you're just like, whoa?
Well, I got to get even in receiving. they issue you Go Fasters, which is a Marine Corps term for sneakers. We had New Balances, and these things, I guess I have high arches, and these didn't accommodate my feet very well, and my ankles swole up like softballs, both of them. So we were standing on line, and this is, you have a DI that does his receiving thing before you get passed on to your training platoon. So he's just kind of there to kind of I don't want to call it babysit, but he's just kind of there to be responsible for you until you get to your training platoon while you're going through your receiving stuff. And we were standing on line for about an hour. So they knew my shit was kind of jacked up. And I was to go to medical in the morning because they were going to get me some new sneakers or some insoles or some inserts or something. And we were standing there for at least an hour. And man, it was pretty painful. And I'm trying to hold it together, man. I'm standing there, and I couldn't help it, man. I just started crying, dude, because the pain is like real. Like, I'm not trying to be a pussy here, you know what I'm saying? But this is like real pain. Sir, this recruit requests permission to sit on his footlocker, sir. And then he walks over. He's like, does it hurt? I'm like, sir, yes, sir. He's like, good. He's like, we're gonna stand here another hour. I'm like, what the is this? What is going on here, man? I'm like, so when we talk about moments that stand out, it was like, okay, this is a different ball game. That's.
Did you go to medical?
We went to. So yeah, I mean, went to medical the next morning. Got some new Go Fasters. The swelling went down. I continued on the training.
Okay.
But that was my first interaction of, like, okay, this is different.
Now,
this is not. This is different.
What was your first? What was your MOS?
0481, which is landing support specialist.
So
Red Patcher.
Red Patcher. That's right. Red
Patcher. So why do you guys? Why do you guys have? Why do you guys have red patches? Is it because you guys have have AIDS?
Only
what? Hold on. You said 0481.
0481. Yeah, landing support.
Yeah. And what'd you say?
Is it you? Do you guys wear the red patches because you guys have AIDS?
It's a great question, because only what I found in my experience is
a great question.
is only highly intelligent people ask that question, and the answer is no, asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. Yeah. Like,
is anything else?
Because I mean,
he said no.
Because I'm telling you, yeah. The answer is no.
So what is the
The answer is no, my friend.
What? First of all, for everybody who does not know, what is landing support?
Yeah.
And why do you have the red patches?
That's a great question as well. So landing support is under the logistics umbrella, which is the 04 designation. It goes back to World War II. When beach operations were taking place from ship to shore, the red patch was on the cover, or probably the Kevlar or the helmet, and the side of the trouser. So when the ship was being offloaded to the shore, we were responsible for facilitating the movement of gear and personnel. So we were the go-to people. That's the guy to go to. Hey, where am I going? Right? Where am I going? Where am I bringing this stuff once I come off the ship? So that's where that originated, and then they kept it ever since.
And a lot of people don't know this, but that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only authorized modification to camis in the Marine Corps to this day.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any other utility modification that we have in the Marine Corps.
Which, by the way, that makes sense. That makes absolute perfect sense. Now,
So that's the history of it. Yeah.
believe it or not,
I thought we were going to talk about boot camp some more. I was kind of getting.
Yeah,
We can if you want.
Yeah, my dad.
I'm like, damn, dude.
My dad was also a landing support specialist when he was first in the Marine Corps. So that's what he did. And believe it or not, they actually had Roosevelt Roads back in the day. And Roosevelt Roads was where there was a detachment of Marine LSB, a landing support battalion, over there in Roosevelt Roads in Puerto Rico. Just a little fun fact I know nobody asked, but that's a little fun fact. Okay,
so wait. Did he have AIDS or no?
Oh, jeez.
Because you asked.
I might need to get tested.
Because you're the one
I might need to go get tested. Yeah. But I hope not. Dad, do you? I'm actually going to see my dad. I'm actually going to go see my dad. My dad's actually on his way here. So I told you I was going to Utah last podcast,
sure.
Right? So my dad actually started. He lives in Virginia Beach. And he actually started like 3 days ago from Virginia Beach all the way up to California. We're going to stop in Utah. And then he's doing like a full trip where he's staying camping with my brother. Because this is my brother's last year before he goes to college. So he's doing that.
Like
he's
KOAs or something?
I'm sorry?
Are they camping at like KOAs or just different?
Yeah, they're camping in all national parks. They're visiting all national parks.
Well, my favorite's Yosemite.
Yeah. We're going to Zion. That's where we're going. So
Zion's insane.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So going back to your experience, and essentially obviously trying to tie it back in with what you do now. How was your experience doing your first duty station? What was your first duty station?
First duty station was North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, Camp Swampy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
That was interesting.
Why?
Come on, man. Why? There's no place on earth like Camp Lejeune, man.
I can think of a few. I can think of a few.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, man. So we went from Parris Island 3 months. MCT was Camp Geiger. Camp Johnson was MOS school, and then Camp Lejeune. I was stationed there for 4 years. Right after the schoolhouse. Went to Landing Support Company, which was in French Creek. I don't know if you're familiar with.
I'm not, but
I'm very familiar.
Are you? Okay. So they call it Felony Creek.
I know it, yeah.
You know what?
Why would they call it Felony Creek, though? That's weird.
Things happen there. I guess allegedly, things happen there. Allegedly.
I think we're past the time that you were freely speak about the statute of limitations. Yeah, because this happened in 2005, 2009.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So as soon as I went to the fleet, I picked up on the 24th MU, so 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit. And it just so happens that Hurricane Katrina took place. This was like September 2005. So as soon as we chopped to the MU, that was our first, I don't want to say deployment, but that was our first humanitarian assistance. Mm-hmm. We took Navy ships down to Biloxi, Mississippi, did a ship to shore, and then convoyed from there to New Orleans, which took a long, long time. Landing support is a lot of times attached to a transportation support company. So we're the A drivers for the motor T guys, for their Humvees and their 7-ton trucks, and then when deployed, oftentimes A gunners and convoy security, things like that. So that's what landing support's function is when we're not doing HSTs, which is helicopter support team, ship to shore, like the beach landings, and the and your ADAG, your air arrival, air departure packs, all that stuff. When we're not doing that, we're with transportation support, we're A drivers. So I'll never forget it. It seemed like days of driving from Biloxi, Mississippi into the disaster zone, which was New Orleans. And the whole time in every direction, as far as the eye could see, it was complete destruction and decimation. Wow. And flooding and all that stuff. It was unbelievable.
Well, what rank were you when this happened?
I think it was a Lance Corporal. Corporal, yeah. Yeah, Lance Corporal. So that was about a month. So we did a lot of humanitarian stuff, passing out MREs and cutting down trees for people, and we also had weapons. So if anything was, I'm just saying we had weapons too. So we were there for the humanitarian aspect, and if
what do you say that I was in high school not even probably middle school when this was going on.
Yeah.
But I remember Hurricane Katrina from being from Puerto Rico, because I think it's just grazed Puerto Rico and then it just went straight into the Gulf.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say that is because was there a lot of like looting, rioting? Probably not rioting, but probably a lot of looting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think by the time we got there, that had, for the most part, dissipated.
There was a lot of looting.
For the most part, dissipated. Yeah.
I remember well. I was a drill instructor at the time, but if you go back and anybody in the audience, you go back and look at it. What was happening was the current administration took a lot of heat because the relief took forever. And there was looting. There was a lot of looting.
Yeah.
And people were down there dying, man.
Yeah.
They were down there dying. I remember they were trying to rush people into the Superdome down there in New Orleans. They had nowhere to go. The flooding was crazy.
Wow.
It was a scary time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a super
And you were there.
I was there. And we were there for about a month. And then packed up and headed back to Camp Lejeune.
What did you live on? Are you just out living in the elements, camping?
No, we were in for a period, we were at different kind of airfields, like civilian airport, like small airport, like warehouses, empty warehouses. We set up cots, and we were kind of living that type of life. We were on a NASA base for a period of time, just kind of in random office spaces, GP tents out in the field.
Yep.
Get briefed in the morning. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. Go do it. Go do it. Come back. Do it again the next day.
Yeah, a lot of people.
That's the first time.
A lot of people, because there's a lot of training that happens in order for you to go to on these deployments. But the reason why I love deployments, and it's just life. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's so simple. It's like because you got to think about like. Literally, there's nobody else. It's not like in the rear. Like you got to be asking 20 different people to get one thing accomplished. Yeah. It's like, this is what I need to get done. Like you just said it, go do it, and then just brief me once that thing's done.
Well, and it's a great story because you joined the Marine Corps. You've got generations in your family that served in the military.
Yeah.
And here you are thinking, I'm going to be a Marine. This is the height of the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Next thing you know, you're in New Orleans doing disaster relief.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Did you ever get to deploy to like Iraq and all that stuff or no?
I sure did. So we did we did what's called a med float, which is 6 months. It's a 6-month deployment. So it's the way the MEU worked or still works possibly is it's a 6-month work up period where you're training and meeting certain training objectives, like checklist, and then once you're qualified for that as a unit, then you deploy for 6 months, and then you return, and there's 6 months downtime, reorganization, restructuring, and then 6 months training. That's how the MEU works. I'm preaching to the choir here, obviously.
Yeah. But it's good that you're saying it because
it's kind of for the camera. It's for the viewer.
Yeah,
if they're interested or whatever, But that's what it is. So, yes, the answer is yes. So we deployed from Naval Station Norfolk on 3 main ships, the ship that I was on was an LHD called the Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima, so it was a big Navy ship. Took about 2 weeks to cross the Atlantic Ocean. And from that point, we hit a couple ports. We went to Spain, Italy, 5 days apiece. So we had Liberty, Libo. So we got to enjoy ourselves for a few days. Then we did some training. We went to Jordan. We trained there for about 2 weeks. This was a Jordanian desert. So it's kind of like a peacekeeping, kind of like with their military. You know, we're like with their military. We did the same thing in Djibouti, Africa, for 5 days, which was
hottest place I've ever been in my life,
hands down. And you probably had to take malaria pills before you got there.
Well, when I was there, it was before they had even had Camp Lemonnier there. There was nothing. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We dug holes.
You dug holes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so hot. There, you can. Yeah. Anyway, so not to get down too many. I mean, there's so many rabbit holes that you could go down.
And that was crazy at that time.
Yeah.
Because Djibouti was really, really close to where the USS Cole had been bombed. So a lot of people don't remember that, but the USS Cole was obviously a Navy ship, United States ship. If you didn't know, that's what USS stands for, you knuckleheads. And, you know, the Cole is out there off the coast of Africa, over there by Djibouti. They get bombed. A lot of sailors lost their lives. A lot of people lost their lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not to make you guys feel old, but I was in the 8th grade when they were on deployment. Does that make you guys feel old?
Hey, you're as young as you feel.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's what somebody told me.
That's a good one.
Somebody told
That's
me.
a good
Probably
one.
your DI.
Probably my DI. Probably the DI.
He probably had to
DI
call-
knows everything.
Yeah, well, he probably had to call in from home. That's probably where he was at. I'm kidding.
I guess I gotta say, yeah. So yeah. That
Okay,
was that.
so
I mean, just to finish that up. So, I mean, and then it just so happens we're in that area of conflict. Israel. So this is 2006. Israel and Lebanon had a conflict, and then so we turned the ships back around, went there, and started an evacuation, humanitarian assistance to evacuate the American citizens out of Lebanon to get them out of harm's way. So we took them from there to the island of Cyprus, going back and forth, filling up the ship with civilians and taking them to. So there was that. So that happened because the intention was to go straight into Kuwait and then convoy into Iraq. That's not what happened. Things were happening. We were there for, we did that for like 2 weeks.
So for those of you that don't know, Cyprus is actually really beautiful.
Amazing.
It's really like
so, but I do want to know
place.
this because
Place.
obviously I was on a Navy ship.
Yeah.
But as a Marine, what is your interactions with people, civilians that you bring onto the ship as part of a humanitarian relief mission?
That's a great question because I was actually in Cyprus the whole time. So everybody else was doing that.
You're probably like an ADAC, probably.
Exactly. So
you were receiving them, tracking them, and getting them from that point to another point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I had to do that too for when the Afghanistan bombing happened. That's why I got sent to Qatar, because I was part of the S4, but I was one of the senior members of the S4, and as part of the S4, my RS, which was my boss, was the mobility officer. And
but when you're doing something like a NEO, a non-combatant evacuation operation, it can be very chaotic, right? Why?
Yeah.
It is.
People are scared. They're hungry. They're thirsty. I need food. My leg hurts.
Yeah.
Like, where's a doctor? And now, instead of just, you're not just sitting there writing names down, checking them off a roster. You're trying to field questions. All of a sudden, how old are you?
Yeah,
exactly.
You're 20 something, and they're like, what? They don't even speak English, and they're like, "Where's my son? Where's my father? Where's my mother?"
That was probably one of the most impacting things for me when I was doing that. When I was doing that mission, one of the most impacting things for me is one night we started with empty canvas of a warehouse in Qatar. And by the end of the night, we have close to 1,200 refugees that were arriving. And dude, they were scared. They were hungry. They were being ping-ponged around from country to country because the countries wouldn't take them. And yeah, dude, it was a struggle because, and the part that was a struggle is those people looked up to us. And I'm just being straight up honest. Those people really looked up to us, and the way that they were treated by the military really wasn't the right way. And it's because you put a bunch of unexperienced, people, and the part that really caused a lot of friction, it was it's not inhumane because we didn't treat them inhumanely. It was the lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? Empathy to what they were going through.
Well, because you're doing a job.
because dude, I would talk to the because I was in charge of like pretty much everything for the time that I was there, right? Because it was so chaotic, and it's not like if you look at the paperwork, it's gonna be like, well, Gunny Ramos wasn't in charge of that because he wasn't. No, man, it was because I had to take charge because I was the senior Marine in there. The Air Force was the one that was actually in charge, but dude, the Air Force, the airmen, they thought that just because they spoke louder to them or they would yell at them that they would all of a sudden understand English, and I would have to step in. And I'm like, bro, go away. It's like, brother, go away. Just because you do not, just because you scream at them doesn't mean that they're gonna understand you, and that's the problem that you're having. Can I get an interpreter? Anybody? You don't need to be an interpreter. Does anybody here knows English? Can translate? Hey, you come here. Boom. What is he trying to say? Broken English. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it was that it was trying to that they were trying to say. Okay, great. Listen, we cannot help you out with that right now. There's food coming. There's whatever, you know. We had even to solve issues that didn't even start at the warehouse. We had to solve them, but issues that started in Afghanistan.
That's what I'm saying.
That person owes me money. That person stole money from me and my family. And I'm like...
But that's my point. It's very chaotic because when you're in a really structured military organization, now all of a sudden you're doing that NEO... You're facing all those issues. You could never have been prepared for that.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to do the best you can with what you got. You're trying to help them out. Like you said, be empathetic.
Yeah.
Not be a jerk. And you do represent something really big and safe and amazing to those people.
Yeah, and I don't wanna talk because, you know, I will never say anything bad about anybody that was there. Because the reason why that happens, you got to think about this airmen, this Marines. They were working around the clock. They had very little sleep. They were stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Like they were doing this for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm talking about no days off. So, you know, like I also had to take a step back and not go full Marine mode on these people because I had to understand both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just the people. It was a really bad situation, and I'm pretty sure all NEOs, if not the majority of the NEOs, specifically the one that you went through.
The only time I used to get crazy with some of the interpreters was in Afghanistan. You know, because we'd be dealing with HVIs and all these guys that honestly I hated them, and you know, can you trust the interpreters?
No,
they're locals. They look up to this guy. He's a village elder. And, you know, there's sometimes where you're telling them, like, if you're telling them something that I'm not telling you to say, I will get violent with you. Extremely violent. Okay?
Like holding hands violent?
Like, I will bring you will have a come to Jesus moment. And I know you're Muslim, but you'll see the light, my son. All right? So make sure you're saying what you're being told to say. All right?
Yeah.
Oh, I would get crazy with these guys, man. I used to get crazy with them. Dude, I'll drop you off right outside the gate and make sure everybody knows you've been helping us for the last 6 months. And see how much they like that.
Damn, Barry. That's
you know what
crazy.
I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Hey.
All of a sudden, people start talking turkey with you. You know?
Was that the pre-workout talking?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, because I had interpreters, they would. You're trying to be nice to them. You want them to work for you, be productive. And, you know, we call them Terps in Afghanistan. I had like 12 of them. And most of them were great. And, you know, there was a couple of times guys tried to get crazy with me. And I'm like, you might have grown up in Afghanistan, but I grew up in the Central Valley, dog. And I'm telling you right now, I'll drag you outside the gate by your neck. We can fight right now. I mean, honestly, ain't nothing no one gonna stop us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
So Joey.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, Joey.
I know what you mean.
How many deployments did you do in your 5-year mark?
1. That was it. You know, that was it.
Well,
so,
technically 2, right? The 24th MEU. So you're not counting the MEU as a deployment. Is that what it is?
No, that is the MEU is the deployment. That was the deployment. So
so you went to Katrina and then subsequently?
Katrina was a humanitarian assistance relief effort. So that wasn't. Yes, the MEU was tasked to do that. The deployment was the 6-month planned Mediterranean.
How long were you there with the Katrina event?
It's like a month. It's about a month.
Gotcha,
it's about a month. Yeah.
Would that be considered for you? Would you consider that a deployment?
No.
Yeah. It's not.
Let us know in the comments. Would you guys consider that a deployment? You probably got
for example,
you probably got a humanitarian ribbon for it.
Exactly. So you get the medal, humanitarian medal, which is like the knife hand on the
it is a knife hand, and that's always the joke that we make, right?
right. And then we got the star, so we got two of them because the other one was for the Lebanon evacuation. I'm sorry, Israel evacuation. So that took place, and then we landed in Kuwait, and the plan was to again convoy into Iraq, and that just didn't happen. We staged in Kuwait for about 30 days. I think we convoyed to another base closer to Iraq. I think recon. They sent in a recon team. I think they had one casualty out of the whole deployment. One combat casualty. I think it was a recon guy. And then we hit the time the time mark or whatever, and they said, hey, they decided, hey, we're gonna pack it up and ship it home. So we washed down all the vehicles, put them back on the ship, went and then carried on back to the States. Made a little stop in one of the, I think it was Spain or something, and then carried on back to the States. And that was that 6-month deployment. Yeah.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, out of that 6-month deployment, you guys only had one combat casualty and was a recon Marine.
I want to say yes.
Okay, of course.
I want to say from what I remember. Yeah. From
what you remember.
And I got to say that this is a little side note. The MU commander, his name was Colonel Johnson. He retired as a brigadier general. He and my father actually went to I think it was amphibious warfare school together or something like that, or OCS, something like that. Actually, and they were stationed together in Virginia Beach where I grew up. So I used to cut his grass, swim in his pool, stuff like that. And it just so happens I got on his MU.
It just so happened.
So special treatment.
Special treatment. Well,
did you get special treatment?
It depends on what you consider special. Because if
you get to sleep with him in his stateroom.
No. Time out. I don't know about
not in the same bed.
No. But maybe
unless it's cold.
Yo, have you been inside with those staterooms?
Yes, I have.
Those staterooms are nice.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
If you can, so if you consider special treatment, 30 days, 45 days mess duty on the ship. If you could,
that's not special.
I don't consider that special treatment.
I consider that like hard freaking hard labor up in there.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Okay, so special treatment.
No special treatment.
No special treatment.
Absolutely zero.
Now,
absolutely zero.
Are there any other notable moments out of your first enlistment? Because I'm curious.
Enlistment, yeah.
Because I'm curious of knowing like what brought you back.
Man. Come on, man. So,
why'd you get out?
Well, look, I mean, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we returned from that deployment. This was this is December 06. I'll never forget it because I got some money in the bank. We had some like 15 days leave for Christmas, I think it was. So the first thing I did was
bought a car.
I bought a 1990 Cadillac DeVille. Put some rims on it, nice paint job, real classy though. You know what I mean? I mean, we're talking 07, so we're talking that era of. Anyway, I mean, and
you got the big body DeVille.
Exactly. I mean, and then it was just such a returning was such a. First of all, I'm happy to be alive and like I can function all my extra. Like I'm alive, man. I'll just never forget that feeling. And I just wanted to be alive. Like I wanted to be alive.
Yeah, you weren't like YOLO. You want.
I was like, man, we here, man.
Yeah.
So you bought the Cadillac.
The Cadillac. And mind you, this is when MySpace came down. This is when MySpace was first popping. This is when Facebook was first popping. YouTube was first popping. So it's like, bam, all this stuff. I'm like,
is it a post-deployment tradition for Marines to buy a car?
Probably.
That's the whole. Probably. That's the if that's the thing we need. That's to
what
get,
we do.
We need to get rid of that.
If we don't do anything with this podcast,
that's what we do.
No, Marines. If you go on a deployment and you're saving up money for you to save a car, I'm just gonna tell you in plain old English, you are a dumbass. Do not spend your hard-earned money into a depreciating asset.
Okay, but why do you think
calling me a dumbass?
why do you think Marines do it?
I mean, yes, by definition of what I was saying, yes. But it's because Marines don't know any better. That I'm calling you a dumbass because if you go out there, you didn't know any better. So I guess that's kind of ignorance, I guess you can call it. But if you
what's wrong with buying a car though? I mean, people need cars.
It's a depreciating asset, man. Like I'm gonna tell you this, man.
You're talking about spending like an exorbitant amount of money that you can't handle, payments.
This is why I think Marines.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, got you.
But
this is why I think they buy cars when they come back off deployment because they want to treat themselves. They want to treat
yourself.
That's a part of it. I think
the distinction is not getting yourself into something you can't handle is like financial.
Yeah, because usually most of the time what happens is even if they don't want to buy the car, what they're doing is they are in their computer nowadays. Obviously, now they are in the computer looking for parts, and they're spending $20,000, $15,000 into putting like a suspension and some big ass rims and some whatever. And I'm like, bro, like that's completely unnecessary. Like that to me, that's completely unnecessary. You know, so that's what I mean. And I didn't mean to call you a dumbass, but what I'm saying because if you didn't know, because if you didn't know any better, you didn't know any
Puerto
better.
Rican. He means
you
everything.
that are watching. You that are watching, if you now knowingly go out there and do that, then you might be one.
Yeah.
So
don't spend it if you don't got it, I guess.
Yeah, don't spend. I mean, Jesus
or do it because you only live once. I don't know.
You're gonna spend. You're gonna put a down payment, $15,000 down payment just to make the car that you want affordable to you.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's too much.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So, what made you get out the first time?
Well, see, we use the term "get out," and it occurs to me as there's I don't want to say a negative connotation with it, but I like to look at it as I completed my contract, right? I signed a contract, I completed that contract, and then I discharged. That's what happened, right? I got out. That's like a story about it. Like, yeah, I got out of prison or something, you know. And that's I think that's how we tend to phrase it, and that's how we tend to look at it. I choose not to look at it like that.
No, you did 5 years honorably.
Yeah. So why did you choose not to re-enlist?
Okay, so the GI Bill was a big one, to be honest with you. The post 9/11 GI Bill, this was late 2008 is when I went on terminal. The post 9/11 GI Bill was just getting approved. It was just getting approved, and that gave me the confidence to say, hey, look, this might be something I can, if anything else, I can fall back on that type of
looking back at it, would it re-enlisted after knowing what you did?
No, I wouldn't.
Good.
And it was not an easy decision. So we returned. So just real quick, I mean, we turned back from the deployment. We got 15 minutes, something like that.
No,
okay,
we're
good. I don't know. There was a time check earlier.
No,
so we returned. I mean, it's just so many. We're going down memory lane, man. You know, it's 07. I'm 20. You know, I'm like 21. You know, I'm back. I'm alive. I'm in the caddy.
You got the Coupe de Ville. You got the Snoop de Ville.
I got the MaCmobile. You know,
macaroni.
I got the MaCmobile, man. I got my name on the license plate type stuff. Come on, man. I'm from Virginia now.
Damn.
I'm from Virginia. Yeah, man. Like
you're over there.
It was
listening.
A vibe.
You were listening to some old school Trick Daddy.
Absolutely,
dude. Masterpiece.
It was a vibe, man.
Birdman.
Yeah, it was a vibe. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, all that.
3-6 Mafia.
3-6. All that. Yeah. Up in the club party.
Dude, they were big.
Yeah. Up in the man. I mean, it was an era, man. It was a special time, you know, for me. You know, for me in my experience. So just to finish up the enlistment, we get back. It's 07. I changed units to a non-deployable unit called Landing Support Company. FC 412 is the building. It's the quad square buildings. Yeah. So I finished up my enlistment. I think it was the last 2 years there. Did the corporal's, I got promoted to corporal. I was a corporal for 2.5 years.
When you got promoted, did they pin you?
No, I got promoted. I actually got promoted on ship.
Okay.
I got promoted on. You talking about like pins and
yeah?
Oh well, yeah, that's part of it. You know, but motherfucker, if that shit goes in my collarbone, I'm gonna fucking just
we're gonna have a problem.
Let's make sure that this goes into the fucking meat, the muscle.
But did it though?
No, yeah, it goes into
But
the
you
muscle.
had, but somebody pinned you when you picked up corporal.
Yeah, of course.
That's always been illegal. What are you talking about?
No.
That's what you do.
Barry, what are you
that's what
talking
you do.
about?
What about blood striping?
Yeah, I don't remember blood striping, but I got we did the pin thing. No blood stripes. I don't think so. Not that I'm opposed to it. I would have been opposed to it. It's part of the deal. It's cool. I'm cool with that.
Part of the deal.
Yeah, it's kind of sort of.
Albert, did you
Unless I don't respect you, then you ain't give me no fucking blood stripes. That type of thing.
Okay,
what I mean?
So it is a respect thing.
It's a respect thing, man. Like, yeah.
And if
I
there ain't no respect there, don't even be in the line for the gauntlet, right?
Yeah,
because that's what it's called, the gauntlet.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you walk the gauntlet, Albert?
I did not.
Did you get pinned?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
What now? Did people do it in your unit, or was it just not a thing, or were you like, "F you guys, I'm not doing it"?
I think I said F it. I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like because you gotta think you got and back then I was like, well, this doesn't make any fucking sense to me. To me, it wasn't a respect thing. If respect is not shown through that time, at least that's not how I grew up.
Through physical abuse.
Yeah, through physical violence, like that. Again, that's not how I grew up.
Do you think it's because you went to Paris Island?
And no, I think it was because the people that I respected the most. The people that I respected the most, they were the ones that were against it. The people that I personally respected the most. Okay. And it wasn't like the weak ass NCOs or anything like that. It was the NCOs that can really whoop everyone's ass. Corporal Davidson, I still remember his name.
Okay.
He was he wasn't against hazing. That's why I say, like, dude, this guy.
It was just this particular thing.
Yeah, you know what he used to do?
No, I don't. I would love to hear.
What Corporal Davidson used to do is, if he wanted to haze you, this was like when hazing has always been a thing in the military, but this is when it was starting, like social media was starting to sprung up. Like you said, this was like early 2009, 2010. So the way that he used to go around it, I remember he asked the questions like, so if I do it with them, it's not bad then, right? So you know what he used to do? He used to get on the ground with you, and he was like, "We're gonna do some push-ups. We're gonna do some whatever he used to do."
That's what it's
he used to
all
do
about.
it, and then he was like, "Hell no!"
That's what it's all
He was
about.
like, "Hell no! Y'all not doing this. If you're part of my squad, y'all ain't doing this all the stupid bullshit." So for me, as whenever it comes to part of
because if I get down with you, now it's just a PT session.
Yeah, but it can still be considered hazing, just because even if you're doing it with him, if you are the only one doing it out of your entire platoon, it can still be considered what's it called, like singling somebody out, because everyone knows what's going on. You know what I'm saying? People ain't stupid.
Yeah, that's why you just say, "Hey guys, it's PT real quick." I just feel like
it could be for the old school guys. Guys, if you guys are watching this and you're still in the military, don't try it. I can guarantee it's not gonna go your way. He got away with it, and that's why I respect it.
So it did go his way.
It back then it did, and
But
just like back then when he was in, it was different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different times, and I would guarantee you try that shit now, those are different times.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's all about. Probably.
Is the military?
I mean, technically, it's just it's a different time.
Is the
Yesterday was
military?
yesterday.
Is the military softer?
Is it softer? Oh man, I don't know how to answer that question.
What do
you think?
No, I asked
What do you think? Should it be? Should it?
Is the military woke? Are they softer?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, you haven't been.
I don't know.
Yeah, you haven't.
I mean, I don't know, man.
What do you believe?
I know what my experience was.
What do you
and
believe?
What do I believe, man? I mean, okay.
Do you believe they're more hardcore than you and your generation? 2005.
That's an easy answer. That's
a good question, because we have to understand that we've always had weapons. We've always had rifles, right? We're not trained, we're not, even in 05, you're not trained to whoop somebody's ass and, like really like kill them with
like
your bare hands.
combat.
Like, yeah, you get your little McSlap in boot camp. Like, you get that little tan belt. Fantastic. But you're not trained to take another man's life with your bare hands. You're trained to point and shoot, right, and use technology to do that. So, I mean,
the answer is easy. What is the answer?
Yes.
The military is softer.
No. Back then they were tougher. It's not softer. Don't confuse the meanings.
Okay.
The military
I'm
back
saying
then
to accomplish that, to neutralize that target, you're trained the same way today as we were in 2005, is to use that weapon and do that, right?
Yeah.
What is harder, what is softer when it comes down to down to that aspect of that, that's what I'm asking. I'm just asking for the clarifying.
As a World War II veteran,
that type of thing.
Who's tougher, back in his age or 2005? It's really a non-question. The reason for it is because you needed to be tougher in order for you to complete the mission successfully. Now I think I'm talking about physically tougher. I'm talking about like now. I think you need to be more mentally tougher because of the situations and the positions that the military puts you in. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not the same thing like you were saying back in World War II where you needed to do hand-to-hand combat, with your bayonet and all that stuff.
Even then, even in World War II, like there's more of a chance for it going to hand.
Yeah,
hand,
and then
right?
2005, but still in 2005, you were being asked to point a weapon at somebody and essentially...
The further we go, it just generationally and through time, and the more technologically advanced we become, the more comfortable we make ourselves.
Dude, but right? It's not even
think
because
about the creature comforts that we have today. The boots are more comfortable today, way more comfortable. Yeah. We have air conditioning.
I don't think it even goes to that. I don't think it goes to the capabilities. I think it goes to the rules of engagement.
When we say tough, tough is subjective. You're tough to a degree. You're tough to a degree.
Think about this.
Right? It's relative.
It's relative. It's relative.
Think about this.
It's all relative.
I'm talking about toughness.
Okay.
I'm going to put you, since you've been so vocal about it.
Got it.
In a position.
Yeah.
You're a sniper up on the roof. You are in a Trump rally.
Well.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, my goodness.
You are a... Secret Service appointed sniper up on the roof.
Yeah.
Veteran, 05 Iraqi war veteran. Cheers. You were a recon sniper in the Marine Corps, and then now you work for, the Department of Homeland Security or the Secret Service.
Got it.
You see a sniper 5 minutes prior to Trump, from the sniper taking the shot.
Yeah.
You report it up. Mm-hmm. You say, do not engage. You see the person with a weapon. What do you do?
Engage.
That's toughness. Because you did the right thing.
Because you have, exactly. Because I am being asked to do something that I view as unethical and immoral and really illegal, right? And so that's where the conflict comes in, okay? And at the end of the day, what do we pay Marines to do? We pay them to make decisions on the battlefield right then.
No, we don't.
We do.
I'm sorry, we don't. The rules of engagement, read them. That's not what the rules of engagement nowadays says. The rules of engagement, you need to have positive identification, and not even with positive identification, you can engage. The person has to be actively identified as a threat, which was what happened. Which, by the way, the director of the Secret Service resigned today, as we are recording this on July 22nd. That's what happened. Are you telling me that a person becomes a threat? Mm-hmm. Seconds before he takes a shot, he's already pointing a weapon.
Yeah. My point is, by saying we pay him to make decisions right then, in the Marine Corps and in the United States military, we operate off something called decentralized leadership. So in other words, you're in charge of whatever element you are. You're making decisions left and right. You don't have to check up with higher for every decision. Yes, I get what you're saying, but my point is, you ain't checking with the next higher up for every little thing. You're pulling the trigger and making decisions all the time, hundreds of times a day. That's my point.
I disagree.
Well, it's true.
Because you might not have heard of Benghazi. You might not have heard of Abigate. These are real life scenarios where this and here's the thing, right? In theory or in practice, whichever one you wanna do, if Marines or the DOD, Department of Homeland Security, if Secret Service would be training up to those standards, they wouldn't massively have those fuck ups, because that is when actual trust and confidence is actually demonstrated. And if they're able to fuck it up, that means that they're not training up to that standard. In my opinion, maybe they have. I mean, clearly the director or the ex-director of the Secret Service hasn't released that information, what training has been provided. But that's just the reality of it. Like, you got to think about, you do not get to that level of incompetence by just simply like, oh, that was one mess up that we've had. That was an isolated incident. I do not believe that.
Okay,
do not believe that at all.
But at the end of the day, you do think that the military is not as tough today.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay.
They're not being trained to be as tough.
Got it.
That's just me.
So the conditions, like what you mentioned, the conditions are maybe less tough, right? Because like you said, it goes back to the boots. The boots are more comfortable, but they should be more comfortable. Am I right?
Yeah, they should.
So the condition is maybe less tough until it's not. Until those comfortable boots are put in that position, and you got to go do that.
The environments we have no control over. Because you may be in a Katrina environment.
Yeah.
Well, what the heck? Maybe it was hot. Maybe it was rainy. Maybe it was both. Maybe whatever it was. Being in the desert, being in the jungle, we can't control that. We can't control that. You're not going to have AC out there when you're operating in those environments. You're not. So, I think we do our best to, and when I was in the infantry, they used to say it all the time. You have to make your Marines live Spartan. They said that all the time. And so, we want quality of living to be better, but there is a part of the Marine Corps, and you guys may not like this, but, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, if you guys have ever heard this terminology, they want those grunts out there in those combat arms Marines to be uncomfortable to a very high degree. Because why? Because they're going to be harder, because they went through something real hard. They're going to be tougher. They're going to be more resilient. That's how you build resilience.
And I think you're right. Go ahead.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like it always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because people do it all the time. They talk about the previous generations.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like there's particularly like in the Marine Corps, there's always a compensation. If there's more comfortable boots, then there's another way. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
There's always a compensation.
I like the way Troy Black said it. He is the 5th senior enlisted advisor to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. There's only been 5 of them, and 2 of them have been Marines, and he's one of them. Was the previous Sergeant of the Marine Corps, as you guys know. But I liked how he said it. Every generation has always said that the generations after them were not as tough.
Exactly.
And
back in my, like, I hate that.
And yet every generation has showed up and proved themselves.
I have more faith in this generation than I've had in all previous generations. And that's going to be super controversial.
And I agree with Troy, though. And it's like we say that because somehow we give ourselves the right or some type of high ground and say we were tougher, we were harder. And at the end of the day, it's like, every generation shows up and they make stuff happen, and they're still doing it. Yeah. They really are.
Military.
So we believe in you guys.
Yeah, military or not, just in general, like in the work, and like, I think that's a pretty valid statement. Yeah.
Facts. Okay,
Facts.
so you did your deployment.
Facts.
You did not re-enlist. There was a lot that kind of went into that.
I picked up meritorious sergeant prior to that. In the end of that enlistment, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. It was not an easy decision. It was not an easy decision because.
So hold on. You picked up corporal.
Yeah.
Then you picked up meritorious sergeant, and you still decided to get out. What was it?
Still did, yeah.
What was that like being a meritorious sergeant?
Felt like a significant accomplishment. It really did. It really did. It felt like a very significant accomplishment at the time.
What made so? What did you do
real.
once you transitioned that first time?
Let's see. So yeah, I discharged in EAS late 08, and I went back to Virginia Beach. I went back to Virginia Beach, and I ended up utilizing the GI Bill. So I went to Norfolk State University, which is in Norfolk. It's in Hampton Roads, which is southeastern Virginia. It's a HBCU because I wanted to be in radio and TV. So I became a part of that university. I became a part of the radio station. I became an on-air announcer. Cool. So I hosted my own radio show. I had my own DJ and all that.
Oh,
so
nice.
it was freaking awesome. And I was living.
Can you give us a little radio
Oh yeah, sure. This is Joe Mack on Hot 91.
Oh,
How about that? Yeah. Exactly. Air horns all day. Wild times, yo. Awesome. Loved it. So I was I feel like I was very fortunate, man, because I got to utilize the GI Bill right when, post 9/11, right when it came out. Because prior to that, it was the Montgomery, which wasn't nothing. The post 9/11 gave you full tuition and a monthly stipend to live off of. So I was renting an apartment down at the Virginia Beach oceanfront, and I'm going to school, and I'm on the radio in Norfolk, downtown Norfolk. So I'm like having a ball, man. I was having a ball. Yeah, I was having a ball.
So what made you want to go back in?
That's a fantastic question. It was an opportunity. I signed an 8-year contract when I was 18, 4 years active, 4 years inactive, ready reserve, which means technically in those second 4 years, you have to be within standards in case you're recalled and they need you, right? So, and what I didn't know was I learned in that time that you can re-enlist in the inactive ready reserve. Like that's an option. You can do that and stay in there. There was an opportunity to come back active and be non-deployable, which is called the active reserve component. And the more I learned about it, I learned about an opportunity and I wanted to be West Coast. So there was an opportunity to be in San Diego. So I took it.
Nice.
So I took it. Yeah. So I did a year on Miramar, active reserve. And I became a 0431. I had to reclass or whatever. I had to retrain MOS. So I had to go back to Camp Johnson. I went back to Camp Johnson for
Did you retain your rank as a sergeant?
I did, and the date of rank started over from day one. So yes, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
What was that like? You've been out of the Marine Corps for several years. You show up, and you're like, I'm a sergeant.
That was different. That was different for me. It was just different, man. And yeah, it was different, man. It was.
Good, bad, hard, easy, crazy, weird?
All the above. All the above.
What were you doing? What were you doing with your fellow sergeants?
I felt like I had changed so much in those 4 or 5 years that I was, that I was not a civilian but a veteran. During that time in college, and then when I came back, it just wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the same for me. It wasn't the same for me. It wasn't the same for me.
So you decided to move on after that year.
Yeah.
Now, what got you started with the VFW?
Great question. So VFW is, mind you, so I discharged that second time in 2014. And at the time, I really didn't want to be associated with the military and or be known as a veteran or whatever, all these things. But we're 10 years later from that. We're 2024, and last year I needed some assistance. I needed some assistance, some financial assistance for some legal fees. So I turned to I just inquired at the VFW. The VFW, they have a post in Pacific Beach. I've lived in PB for 10 years. Pacific Beach, California, it's a beautiful place to be. So I inquired there, and they helped me out. They helped me out, and so I decided to start volunteering there, and just start helping out vets with whatever they needed help with. getting their benefits mostly. Questions about getting their benefits. I'm a person who's maximized his benefits, right? So when you contact me, you're talking to a person who's maximized his VA benefits, education benefits, disability claim. Except only thing I haven't done is the VA home loan. So we got to talk about that.
Oh, we sure do.
Because I'm renting a studio apartment in PB for $2,000 a month, so we gotta switch that up at some point, right? There's an opportunity to become what's known as the post-service officer, which is it's an appointed position. So that's what I am. I'm the post-service officer for the VFW Pacific Beach. What does that mean? That means when somebody walks into the post or they call up and they're asking for some type of assistance, they give them my number and then they contact me. Then I verify them, make sure that they are who they say they are. DD-214, ID, stuff like that. Okay, what's going on? What do you need help with? Okay, let's see if we can get you in the right direction. That type of thing. So it's
So
That's what it is.
and how
it's a volunteer position, by the way.
how soon can service members reach out to you? Like, let's say, for example,
soon?
Can the service members reach out to you in terminal?
Yeah, sure. Ideally, you reach out to your VFW or your American Legion post that's in your city near you, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that type
okay,
of
okay.
thing.
So
Yeah,
you
that type
have
of thing.
the PB, and which areas does PB service?
Anybody in San Diego, really, I guess.
Okay.
Anybody that's in the area.
Okay, got
Anybody
you.
that's in any vet that's in the area of San Diego.
Is it just
I would
Marines?
say. No, it's so there's a couple veteran organizations. The American Legion. You could be a vet, and it doesn't matter. You can join the American Legion. You could be if you've served in a campaign in a time of war, then the VFW is an opportunity for you to join. And it's just what it is. It's a community of vets it's a network. It's a network.
Got you.
People that are in your community that
are veterans of
Yeah.
foreign wars, essentially.
Yeah. In our post, there's a bar. It's got the cheapest drinks in PB, if that's your thing. It's got a little meeting hall type thing. They do cookouts. They do burgers and dogs on Independence Day, and they cut the cake on Veterans Day, things like that. They do
You
stuff
have me
like
at
that,
cheapest
man.
drinks in PB. I will be honest with you.
There you go.
That's where you have me at.
There you go.
Cheapest drinks in PB.
That's it.
Now,
That's it.
the questions that I have for you, right, is like essentially a veteran that has been part of any campaign can reach out to you. That's in is there like a national website?
Just to keep it real simple, I'm a veteran that has decided to volunteer some time to help other vets. If you're looking for information on that, utilize the power of the internet. Google VFW American Legion, find one near you, go check it out. That's my thing. That's my whole thing.
Got
That's
you. Do you guys do any events?
regardless, I get a couple calls a week. Just hey, tank. Can you hook me up? Like a tank of gas. Like sometime, my RV broke down. Hey, I'm looking to upgrade my discharge from 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And you help guys with that stuff.
Yeah, we just figured it out on the fly. I'm like, hey, that's a great question. Let's try to figure it out.
So what about a
type of
guy
thing.
like me? Retired sergeant major. If I called up to the VFW, what would you be like? Oh my gosh, you're not. You mean you're telling me you're not doing this, and this?
No, I'm not that guy. I'm just
got
hey,
it.
what are you dealing with? What's
Yeah.
what's important to you? What are you dealing?
What am
with?
I dealing with? Well, I'm extremely handsome. I'm amazing.
Well, that's
you know what I
obvious.
mean? I'm an angel.
That's obvious.
So
Hey, listen, old ladies in Instagram and Facebook think different.
That's obvious. Yeah. That's obvious. Yeah.
And the cheapest drinks.
And the cheapest drinks. Yeah.
So
A lot of times it has to do with disability claims. And
Got it.
And a lot of times I'll refer them to the VSO, who's this is their job. They're paid to do this and help you file your claim and possibly appeal your claim after the decision has been made.
somebody needs
XYZ.
help with the VA home loan. Who do you send them to?
Albert Ramos.
Ooh, boy.
All day,
This
every
wasn't
day.
rehearsed, by the
All
way.
day, every day. Yeah,
This wasn't her.
Yeah.
This
And if
wasn't
you need
her.
personal training,
There you go.
that's
So,
your man
do
right
you
there.
guys have any events
That's
or
your
anything
man right
like
there.
that? Do you guys do events?
all the time?
messages?
All the time. Like I said, we just
When's the
did.
next one coming up? I know I'm getting you on the spot here.
Oh man, we'll have to see. But the post is
Do
always
you
open.
do a Marine Corps birthday ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Is
they have like a hall. They have the ability to host.
Yeah,
anybody
because
that
I
wants to
remember
be
being on I&I in Sacramento, and they used to do little things. They would have these potlucks. They'd have card games, bingo, these little fundraiser type
Exactly.
things, dude. But it was
Exactly.
cool, man. Like it was honestly cool, and the old timers love it because you get some youngsters in there, and you guys can trade sea stories.
I'm really looking forward to learning more about that, and the reason for it is because Marine Corps ball season is coming up, and I already had 2 first sergeants that I'm close with reach out to me and be like, hey man, like, can you help us out? Like, we've been in ITX. We've been training.
You know what we need to do, dude? We need to set up a podcast episode at least one ball.
And what? And at least one ball?
At least one ball.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
set it all up.
Set it. Let us know. We want to set up a podcast episode. That's just on the fly because that's just how we do it. Listen, we're gonna set up shop in any Marine Corps ball this year. We want to ensure that we're there. Are you willing to try to Vegas?
It don't matter to me, dog. We work from wherever, dog.
But I stay at the Bellagio. I don't know about you.
Hey, dog. If they take green money?
They take green money.
I'll tell you, I'll hook them up right there, dude. I'll tell you. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Motor scooter, come on over here, dude. This card will get you anywhere.
Joey, I really
That's
want to
right.
thank you for coming over here, sharing
for
sharing your stories, brother.
Yeah,
Not only that, letting us know about the VFW until you reached out to me, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the VFW was. I had to actually research it up, like I told you before the podcast, because I didn't know what it was. And then now it's an organization that I will definitely get involved with. I would definitely love to do a collaboration with the VFW, not for me or for my business, but for the Marines that are, or the service members that are going to be watching this podcast, and they need help with their funds.
Well, dude, I remember being on I&I in Sacramento, and that's really where I fell in love with the VFW because those guys are plugged into the community. So can they necessarily help you with employment? That's not their official role, but these guys knew people. Is that the case with every VFW?
Exactly.
Maybe not. But like Joey said, dude, go in there, talk to folks, man. Hey, I'm in a pinch. This is my situation. Dude, I bet you they know a guy, and I bet you they'll pour you a cold glass of beer while you talk about it.
You never know who knows who and who could do what.
That's right.
You don't know
man.
what you don't know.
Good, man.
So, yeah,
let's set up a
it's all
time
about.
for us to go down there.
Yeah, sure.
And
Easy.
shoot the shit. I love
Dude, could you
PPE.
imagine?
Easy.
You got old timers down there?
Oh yeah.
Who's a couple that anybody that you?
Yeah, I love the commander. His name's Mike Hill, man. He's a Vietnam era vet, Army pilot. Just
He's Army?
Solid dude. Yeah.
No, we don't want to talk to him. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was unprofessional.
I mean, you look, I try not to hold that against him.
You know what I mean? But we do. But we do.
Yeah.
These guys got some cool stories down there.
Yeah.
Dude, we got to go interview some of these guys.
Yeah, we could do.
Well, we do a meeting every month, like a VFW meeting. It's the second Thursday of the month. I'll send you an invitation.
This is
Come
what-
on down. Yeah, it's. I mean,
This
it's
is what we
easy,
want.
man.
This is what we want. We want to set something up. We want to do some interviews down there.
Yeah,
And these guys bring in some of their paraphernalia, whether it's a uniform item, medals that maybe they're willing to share.
And we'll interview them.
And
Yeah,
we will
yeah.
interview
We'll
them
make the
right
time.
then and there.
That's a good idea.
We'll interview, yeah.
That's a good
Okay.
idea.
Yeah,
That's a great
because
idea.
we got to get those stories, man. Because some of those people,
they're gonna be
some of
gone,
those people
bro.
aren't amazing,
Exactly.
and they're gonna be
Exactly.
gone. And we want to make sure that
Exactly.
we get the real stories
Exactly.
out there, man. So,
Exactly.
Joe, where can people reach out to you for the VFW related stuff?
Well, I mean, you could do that if you want to. I'm on IG at Joey MaCavoy. That's MaCavoy, Joey MaCavoy. So, yeah.
Awesome, Barry. Where can people reach out to you at?
You guys know where to find me at Instagram at Bull5277, TikTok at Bull52772, YouTube, the A to B podcast. That's where you're watching this episode, okay? On Instagram and TikTok. This podcast and many other podcasts is linked in my bio. Click the link, follow it to YouTube, subscribe, share, comment. This podcast is for you. This ain't for me and Albert. We're not getting paid doing this, okay? We love doing this because this is about, military taking care of military, veterans taking care of veterans, people taking care of people, all right? Click the link in my bio, schedule a call. The call is free and the change is going to last you a lifetime.
And guys, you guys know where to reach out to me, okay? Ramos_Capital, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Go ahead. go to the link in my bio, schedule a consultation, just like my friend Joey here is gonna do. Because what I'm gonna do with Joey is I'm not gonna try to sell him a home. I'm going to show him a roadmap on how he can utilize his VA entitlements in order for him to be successful. That is exactly what I want to do with you again. And this is what keeps our podcast running, the support from our audience and you guys. So make sure you guys go to the link in my bio. Check it out. You don't have to check an appointment, but please just like, follow, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.